Thanks to the holiday season, the drivers have taken an extended break between rounds 1 and 2 of 2022 Season 1. But now that we're in the new year, it's time to fire up those engines once again. We're racing at Dover Motor Speedway tonight in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hello everyone, I'm Reese Gardner, and with me in the booth making his return is Chris Phoebe. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Holding events since the summer of '69, Dover's high banking and concrete surface create a monster challenge for those who race here. Let's head to the Gsrc track guide to learn more.
The Monster Mile, and the less popular, but still sufficient, White Lightning. Dover International Speedway is a place that has lived up to both of those nicknames over the years. It is a tough track that requires accuracy and bravery to turn an ultra-fast lap. The walls on the exits of both 2 and 4 are punishing, and the 1-2 combination of slapping the outside wall and then slamming the inside wall, either front stretch or back stretch, has caused chaos in races going back to the track's inception. Dover opened in 1969 as an asphalt 1-mile oval, and fittingly, with it being a race in the late 60s and early 70s, Richard Petty won that inaugural Cup race here. Dover hosted nearly all Cup races during those early years, before NASCAR started to bring over the Grand National Series as a companion event. By 1993, though, those Mid-Atlantic seasons had taken its toll on the surface, and the decision was made to resurface the track. In a risky proposition, they chose to make it concrete, following the decision that Bristol had made 2 years prior. In 1994, the first races were held on that new surface, and the Dover we either love or hate came into being. In more modern times, the track has held a wider variety of races. IndyCar ran here in the late 90s, with more recently Whelen Modifieds, trucks, and ARCA all having made stops at Dover. And finally, yes, the 1-kilometer quarter-horse track inside the speedway is still used to this day, with the casino on the backstretch. Now it's time to strap in and hope the monster doesn't bite.
Well, Chris, Dover, I mean, it's such an incredible oval, this. Super high banking, just a mile long, and as you can see, the drivers are already getting their laps in, and we're certainly in for a night of very hard racing here.
That's right. This track is basically 2 really big corners with a couple short straightaways. And because of that, drivers are going to be putting a lot of input into the steering wheel. And given that it's also a concrete surface here at Dover, the tire wear is a little bit different than what we typically see on an asphalt oval. So look for tire management to play a big role here. And of course, we talk about this a lot with these trucks, Reese, but they're going to want to keep their momentum up, because if you get a little bit out of shape and have to get out of the gas, you're going to lose a ton of positions here. And this track can turn into a bit of a freight train. So you're going to want to definitely keep the momentum up, keep the revs going, and do your best to stay in the loud pedal.
Yes, well, the drivers have been very clean so far this season, so we'll have to see how that works out for many of them. But they're just getting their final laps in now before we head on into the qualifying session. Before we do that, though, let's thank our series sponsors. Our broadcast is brought to you first by Advanced SimRacing. Owned and operated by passionate SimRacers, Advanced SimRacing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available on the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills with modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration. You can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
And finally, the PRL NASCAR Truck Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit NinjaTrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance.
Well, let's get into the meat of this night of racing. We'll have to check out the driver points coming out of round one at Iowa. It was Abner Acosta who came out on top, and he is leading the standings by just 1 point from Bradley Holley. And Holley had a little bit of a benefit at Iowa. He led most of the laps there, so he's still able to keep himself in the fight despite an unfortunate incident in one of the final wrecks of the night at Iowa. Colton Lane with a second place finish in round one, third place. And this being round one, of course, Chris, the field very close on points. Cervantes and Sink, they could definitely benefit here.
That's right. We're in that part of the season where everybody's still feeling things out and seeing how things are going to go. With this being just the second round, still a lot at play here for the season.
And in terms of team points, Waterback Back Row Racing certainly with the main benefit here. They got 2 cars on the podium at Iowa. They lead by 3 points from the Waterback Overdrive squad. But it's quite the gap back to Nomad, the Loud Pedal, and Old Goat. They are very close on points as well. It's going to be quite important for those teams to get the results they want, try and consolidate their positions as well. And of course, now we are in the qualifying session and the drivers making their way out onto the circuit to stake their claim for the grid. We do have a couple of drivers already out there setting laps. The likes of AJ Roderick and Dalton Gaia have made their way out of the pits. Checking out the number 48 now.
Well, his tires are definitely going to be warm, Reese, as he swung it around 1 and 2 there. Looks like he's going to wave off that attempt.
Yeah, that's no good there. And maybe a bit of wall contact as well for this Toyota driver. Goodness me. Oh, wow. The 519 of Hueo Guerra as AJ Roderick sets the fastest lap of the session so far. Drivers having a bit of trouble getting going here in their qualifying session. As we get Stacey Hunter across the line to P2, 23.276. Richard Thomas pips them and goes to 23.1. And goodness me, Colton Lane and Clayton Montgomery all setting their good times. But Bradley Holley, the first driver into the 22s there, 22.968. In terms of practice pace, looks like Abner Acosta didn't quite do as well as he'd want, a bit outside the top 10. So we'll see how well he can hook up a qualifying lap here as Thomas Sink and Clayton Montgomery, they retain their positions. We got some more times coming in. Charles Sumner, 23.145. Ryan Traver, 23.346. He goes to 13th, but then Austin Hunter straight to 12th. Joshua Tellez to 7th, 23.143. The times are looking very close here, Chris.
That's right, and it's good to see things smoothing out a little bit the deeper we get into this session. This is a track that looks deceptively easy from the outside, just a standard oval. But there is a lot of different elements to this track that are incredibly tricky, and we saw the 98 of Charles Sumner riding around. That transition between the banking of the corner and the flat part can really get you tricked up, and will not hesitate to spin your truck around if you get a little bit too low there in the corners.
Apologies for the utterance from my esophagus. Yes, the apron here at Dover, it is asphalt, but there's quite a big transition between that high banking and the reasonably flat apron. But it's amazing just how much pace these drivers carry around this circuit. Checking out the number 57 of Adam Zemke at the moment. Running a different livery now with Monster sponsorship on the car. And he's on his first lap now. Oh, he runs a bit wide in turns 1 and 2, but he cuts nice and low in the latter part of the corner try and get the best run possible. 23.391 for his first lap, and looks to me like now that he started his second lap, we just clipped the apron, so that's going to be a loss of pace there. Probably not the kind of qualifying Adam Zemke would have wanted. Jeff Evans, though, he's done well up to third place in the intervening moments. It's going to be a 23.324 there for Adam Zemke. Actually, a 23.34. My apologies. And looks like he will consolidate 25th position out of that. Meanwhile, the number 109 of Nicholas Hunter. Oh, he gets a little bit onto the apron, but he keeps it stable. Manage the oversteer out of turns 3 and 4. That's going to be a 23.427. 27th position for him as things stand, just ahead of Bob Clement and Joao Guerra. We've had quite a few drivers not set times here, and Abner Acosta is among them. Danik Momi, Kaylee Simons, James Dewar, Daniel Ailey, and Rob Nella all not qualifying. And Rob Nella, a driver I think definitely had a no qualifying penalty. The stewards deemed him at fault for causing one of the cautions at Iowa. But as the session ticks to a close, that is going to be our grid set, and we can go through it in just a few moments. And it's the perfect bounce back from Iowa for Bradley Holley. He's going to start on row 1 alongside Thomas Sink, with Jeff Evans and Brendan Chatley taking up row 2. 5th and 6th will be Joshua Tellez and Clayton Montgomery, with Ryan Goodall and AJ Roderick on row 4. The top 10 rounded out by Richard Thomas and Aaron Webb.
Just outside of the top 10 is Colton Lane inside of row number 6, with Charles Sumner to his outside. Adam Shane and Paul Williams will make up row number 7. Then Clayton Curry and Mark Kalin in row number 8. Jim Westerfield starts 17th with Baron Hilton to his outside. Then Stacy Hunter and Dalton Geyer will complete your top 20.
Starting out at 21st will be Jose Medina. Austin Hunter starts alongside him. It's going to be CM Pennington who starts alongside Randy Caldwell, with Adam Zemke and Ryan Traver taking up row lucky 13. Nicholas Hunter and Bob Clement, the last drivers to set times, along with Joao Guerra, with Abner Acosta starting in 30th. And then we have Daniel Ailey, Rob Nella, Danik Momi, James Dewar, and Kaylee Simons rounding out our field. Let's check out then the race details for this second round of the PRL NASCAR Truck Series for 2022. 110 laps around here, and barring cautions, the race should take well under an hour, but we are time limited to an hour, so if there are too many wrecks, then the drivers are going to have to go time certain. And 4 tyre sets total. We did briefly touch on it, Chris. It's going to be interesting to see how Tyre Life handles this concrete surface, and with no spare truck, once again, the drivers will have to avoid wrecks as much as possible.
That's right. This track can play havoc with the tire strategy. The way the concrete there just kind of grates the tires. It's going to be a challenge for these guys once we get into the race trim.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, a formation lap behind the pace car will eventuate momentarily, and out they go. Bradley Holley really raring to go there, following the pace car bumper to bumper out of pit lane, way ahead of everybody else. He wants to get going.
Yeah, when you are in the position he is here in this race, with your main competition starting so deep in the field, you want to get this one rolling and get as far away as you can to try to put some distance between yourself and those point standings.
Yeah, this is going to be a crucial round here for Bradley Holley. Crucial round for Abner Acosta as well. I mean, he currently leads the standings, having won round 1, but starting all the way back in 30th position. I mean, there is some benefit to starting further back in the field. If there's a wreck, it's probably going to be ahead of you, so you have more of a chance to avoid it. But that said, you have every chance to get caught up in it as well. The pace car pulls in. It's Bradley Holley versus Thomas Sink on the front row. When does Bradley Holley decide to put the hammer down and go racing here at Dover Motor Speedway? Waiting, waiting, the green flag flies and we are away. It's an even start between our top two. They get a much better start than the rest of the field. Jeff Evans filtering ahead of Brendan Chatley, who has to give space to Joshua Tellez on the inside there in 5th place. But Bradley Holley is the one who leads the way out of turns 1 and 2 as the rest of the field tries their best to make their way through cleanly, and it looks like they have. We'll see how racy they start getting once they get into a rhythm. Less and less drivers now on the outside line. Clayton Montgomery a bit stuck out there, side by side with Joshua Tellez coming into turns 1 and 2 for the second time. But Bradley Holley, it seems, getting off to the best start possible here.
That's right, in a very clean first couple laps here at Dover. This is a track where you can run out of room really quick. I mean, you look at the front straightaway here, and it's very narrow, not a lot of room, and these trucks could very easily run into each other. But so far, everyone keeping it clean here in the opening segment.
We'll be able to check in with 4 drivers tonight on cameras: Bradley Holley, Austin Hunter, Charles Sumner, and Aaron Webb. We'll see if we can get a chance to look at them in various stages throughout the race. I think I can tell what Bradley Holley would be looking like. He's got eyes forward at the moment, nothing in front of him. Ryan Goodall just snatching the fastest lap away. Draft will play a little bit of a part in that. Holley, it seems, starting to extend that gap. Thomas Sink, he was falling back a little on corner exit into the clutches of Jeff Evans, but it looks to me like the top 6 really putting one up over the rest of the field. That's quite the gap between Ryan Goodall and 7th place.
Man, one thing I really love about watching races at this track is, as we have somebody hard into the wall. Oh, and that's going to be a caution.
Yeah. The 82 and the 35. That's Clayton Curry and Jim Westerfield who have been involved in that, and it seems that everyone else has gotten away relatively cleanly. So good to see that only 2 trucks have been stricken as a result of that, but that does not look like a good truck there for Jim Westerfield. He's going to have to pull that into the pits. That may very well be a retirement with a smoking engine. That's going to take way too long to repair.
Yeah, typically those giant plumes of smoke, usually a bad sign. As we watch here, the 82 on the outside, just a little bit of wheel touching. Unfortunately, he went flying into that outside wall, and at that point was just a passenger, collected Jim Westerfield in the meantime. So not a great start to the race here for the 82 machine.
Yeah, not for the 35 either, and that was just the slightest bit of contact that sent Curry up into the wall. And poor Jim Westerfield, there was nothing he could do there. It all happened so quickly, and you can only do so much to avoid a car spearing across the track ahead of you. But that is going to be the first caution, and this is where we will take an opportunity for a short break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. You're watching the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series Round 2 at Dover.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
And we are back to racing action in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. A good restart there from Bradley Holley. He has put one over Thomas Sink once again, and it looks like the top 6 are repeating what they did on the initial start and starting to break away from the rest of the field. But 5th place there for Joshua Tellez, overtaking Ryan Goodall in turns 3 and 4. Goodall's going to try and get him back here, potentially. A little bit of a look up the inside. My goodness, Tellez is looking mighty pacey here, starting to put some Morse code into the rear bumper of Brendan Chatley. And Chris, we noticed that under the caution, Abner Acosta, unfortunately having some technical issues, disconnected from the server as, oh, there we go, Joshua Tellez going for the move on Brendan Chatley, and it looks like he might secure it. Seems that Tellez is very confident on those fresh tyres, but not the best of starts for our championship leader, Abner Acosta.
Yeah, if he's had one Achilles heel, it would be his internet connection the last couple seasons. I know it's cost him some victories over on the Cup car side, and unfortunately it seems like it may cost him pretty dearly today, right now running in the 30th position, and it's not going so hot right now for Abner, so hopefully he's got whatever issues addressed and he's able to stay in it the rest of this race.
Well, that's going to be another position for him there, up into 29th, overtaking James Dewar, and it seems that CM Pennington is going to try and follow him through. We'll see what he can do about that, as the majority of the field has formed into single file. A little bit of a look there up ahead, making their way through. That looks to be Rob Nella passing Dalton Geyer. Now, Abner Acosta has Daniel Ali for company, as that looks like another caution. And oh dear, my goodness, that was stopped right in the middle of the track there for Adam Zemke. And that looked like contact from Hueo Guerra. Tried to move up the inside and just bumped him out of the way.
And that's something that can happen at this track pretty easily. I mean, if you look, the track's banked all the way around. So it's what some would refer to as self-cleaning. Unfortunately, that means when things happen, you're really prone to slide into something else. And you can see Guara and the 57 make contact there. And you can see he slides down, and unfortunately, right in the middle of that banking, just in the way, and nothing he really could have done there, maybe other than lock it down a little bit more. But unfortunately, you're fighting gravity at that point, and it did not quite work out.
Yeah, I have to say, though, on this replay angle, quite stylish incident avoidance there from the truck on the outside. That was the number 12 of Danik Momi. He'd already kicked it into a slide, but then went full Tokyo drift, avoiding Adam Zemke. Very well executed. Let's see what it looked like from the onboard. Seems he was carrying a tiny bit of damage, or that might just be the bonnet profile. Oh, he got hit from behind. Okay. So, I mean, I'll still give him the style points, though.
And he stuck the landing.
Absolutely. Brilliant stuff there. But we do have more visitors to the pits there. You see Zemke in the black monster livery truck down there in the pits. Danik Momi having completed his service going out. We've got Clayton Curry still in the pits with that heavy damage from the first caution. Dalton Gaia also in the lane. He's just creeping forward in his pit box, though, so I'm not too sure what the deal is there. Zemke is going to jump out. He hasn't gotten all of his damage repaired. There's still a bit of damage to his rear spoiler, but at the very least, he will be able to stay on the lead lap, which is crucial here at Dover. Very short.
Yeah, ooh, that that rear panel there is pretty wadded up.
And you talked about how the banking works here at Dover. Yeah, it is banked all the way around. 24-degree banking in the turns, 9-degree banking on the straights, and that's something that you don't really see in a lot of ovals nowadays.
Yeah, it is a bit unusual. This track does have a long history in the NASCAR world, though. I mean, dates back to 1969, which is the same year we saw Michigan and Talladega introduced to the schedule. And, you know, one thing this track doesn't get enough credit for, you know, Richard Petty won his 200th at Daytona, but just a few months prior, he won the 199th right here at Dover.
Of course, Dover, a place where many of the legends of American motorsport have strutted their stuff. It seems in terms of strategy, the majority of the field staying out under this caution. It's still far too early to think about pitting for fresh tyres for a lot of these drivers. We have had the likes of Pennington, Chatley, Acosta making visits to the pits. Acosta going for his second visit to pit road. Of course, the first was due to his disconnection. But the top 24 drivers in the field all staying out so far. And this concrete surface, as we mentioned, may very well play havoc with the tyre life. Concrete, traditionally a very slippery surface compared to tarmac, not as rough, not as much of the stones to grip into the tyres and provide cornering force, so it can be very easy to go for a big slide here.
And the way the rubber lays down on concrete is also very odd compared to a typical asphalt track. It's like the rubber just kind of lays on top of it, whereas like it becomes a little more adhesive on an asphalt track. So just a very different response to the tire rubber here as we get ready to go back to green.
Yep, too wide for the restart, and it's business as usual for Bradley Holley. Down low in the first starting position. And it looks like he's decided to go a bit early this time as we go back to green flag racing at the start of lap 19. Very good start for Bradley Holley by Thomas Sink before they even got to the line, and Jeff Evans going with them, the top three, breaking away slightly coming into turns 1 and 2. Ryan Goodall, he's going to have to start looking in his mirrors because Joshua Tellez is going for the move and just about makes contact. You saw it in the left side of the shot. Very close battling here. Tellez still on the warpath here in the early stages.
And he is looking very impressive here in these brief green flag runs we've had.
Seeing a move being lined up for Mark Kalin just behind on Adam Shane, fighting for 9th place side by side through turns 3 and 4. Now it looks like Mark Kalin just about getting it done, but Adam Shane with a much better exit on the outside, unfortunately having to yield as they make their way into turns 1 and 2, and there's just enough space there for Kalin to move back up to the racing line. And I think that just demonstrates, you know, it takes a while to execute a move here at Dover, but if you get stuck on the outside, then you have every chance of falling back. As goodness me, that was a bit of contact there with the wall. See if that works out for Clayton Montgomery. It looks like it has, as we ride on board with him, on board with the Tropicana of Charles Sumner, rather. And I mean, the way he's looking here in this camera, you know, it belies the very stressful nature of racing at Dover. I mean, you can see from the onboard, the drivers barely have 4 seconds on the straights to have a rest before they have to prepare for the turns.
That's right. This is a track where you can really fall out of the seat with all the steering response you have to put in as you go around the track here. But Charles Sumner definitely looking very serious. I did notice a decided lack of orange juice in that picture, though.
Yes, well, with the external view, we have much orange juice representation here. He's still trying to figure out a move here, but largely single file racing for the most part. There is some side-by-side action going on further back in the field, just outside the top 20, but they've mostly managed to sort themselves out. Rob Neller is starting to make moves, trying to go around the outside of the number 28 of Ryan Traver back in the field, and it looks like he's just managed to get that done on the exit of turn 2.
And a little bit of an indecisive moment there from the 3 truck of Randy Caldwell. And that little bit of hesitation that he had going on, trying to decide which lane to take, can end up making a huge difference. Ooh, we got somebody up into the wall there. It looks like it was the 88 of Joshua Tellez just clobbered the wall as he came off the turn 2.
Yeah, well, he was working his tires pretty hard, making those moves in the early stages, and I think that might be coming back to bite him. In terms of Abner Acosta, who's continuing to make his recovery, he is up to 21st now, just behind CM Pennington. So the long fight back continues for our points leader, and CM Pennington is going to get a position here with a bit of a problem for Nicholas Hunter. Clobbered the wall slightly, and a bit of a lively rear end coming onto the straight. Of course, the series is fixed setup. All the drivers are driving with the same settings, but very much down to driving style to try and get the best out of these things. And that's going to be another position lost for Hunter. Brendan Chatley going by him. So Abner Acosta now up into the top 20. It seems Hunter, he's his tires must be completely dead. Either that or he's way out of rhythm, because it looks like he is dropping like a stone.
Yeah, we are about closing in on 30 laps in, and that will definitely reach the point where the tires kind of fall off the cliff. But you can see there's a lot of drivers out there that are struggling with the handling right now, Reese.
Yeah, AJ Roderick was right there to take advantage. Now trying to line up a move on Randy Caldwell. There's, take it easy. That's Juan Guerra into the wall. And there was brief contact with CM Pennington. They both managed to keep going, but goodness me, Juan Guerra dropping down the field as well. And he'll have a bit of side damage there. He's going to go straight into the pit lane. That's definitely suspension damage, clobbering the safer barrier. And that's going to be a green flag pit stop as well, which is going to cost him a lot of time.
Yeah, only a little more than 20 seconds a lap here. What is it, 23 seconds they're running right now. And that's definitely going to be a lap or two down.
Well, from bad to worse for Juan Guerra as we continue to check out these intense battles here in the midfield. In terms of... oh dear. Hello. That looks interesting there. Bit of side-by-side action. I believe that is the number 28 of Ryan Traver making his way around Dalton Geyer. Danik Momi in the midst of all of that as well. Ever so slight contact. Certainly snowballs into quite bad incidents here at Dover. And they've got just up ahead of them Nicholas Hunter, who's continuing to have his handling issues. I'm amazed at just how much time Nicholas Hunter has lost in these last few laps, and it seems that he's making small appointments with the wall, lap on lap here.
You can definitely tell the difference between the drivers that have been playing the tire management game a little bit better. Well, for one thing, a lot of those drivers that have been having issues, apparently looks like the right side of their trucks have all scraped the wall. A lot of chipped paint out there today.
Yeah, many front rights with a few dents in them. And we're not even a third of the way through this race. Oh my goodness, Adam Zemke having to get out of the way of these guys. He is the only car circulating that is a lap down. We've still got Guerra, Dewar, Curry and Westerfield stopped in the pit lane. But that's definitely spiced up this battle. So this very tight fighting in the midfield, certainly where the action is. In terms of the front, Bradley Holley has put the hammer down, and rightly so. He now leads by 9/10 of a second over Thomas Sink, and there's quite a gap back to third place Jeff Evans, but it seems that Ryan Goodall is going to have a run here at the podium.
Yeah, Goodall there is definitely showing some fight as he closes in on Evans for that final podium spot. And a new revised pink paint scheme for the 41 of Doug Evans, but it's definitely a lot more pink than what we saw last year. But still a pretty distinctive scheme there in the 41.
Yeah, with that Miracle Flow sponsorship on the bonnet, or the hood, as you say in the States. Just a car width wide of the apron, but of course that translates into a late apex and a better run down the straights. That's what's allowing him to keep Ryan Goodall behind him. It seems that in the majority of the positions in the top 10, there's a reasonable amount of gap between these drivers, so we're not going to be seeing big chaos and huge battles happening in the front half of the field anytime soon, unless there is another caution. Meanwhile, the number 60 of Colton Lane, he's having to deal with Adam Shane here, trying to line up a move into turns 1 and 2, or turns 3 and 4 rather. Looks like a fairly simple move executed there for Adam Shane. Oh, actually, as I say that, a bit of a better exit there for Colton Lane. He manages to maintain 11th position across the line, but it's only going to take a couple more corners here for Shane, who moves up, a bit of contact, and that's going to keep Colton Lane behind. Aaron Webb now in lucky 13th position, looking to benefit.
And Colton Lane was very close on the bumper of the truck in front of him there, trying to upset the handling to get that spot back, but unfortunately was not able to capitalize on the 79, who will stay in front of Lane there in the 60 machine.
Move getting lined up here for Aaron Webb. He has a look, but Colton Lane still ahead into the turn. He can run his line. Now that we are on lap 43 for these drivers, this is the stage of the race where you might have to start thinking about green flag pit stops. We're almost halfway into the race, and again, the majority of drivers are still on the tyre set they started on. But we do have the likes of Chatley, Acosta, as well as AJ Roderick, Pennington and Kaylee Simons really making up positions on those fresh sets.
Yeah, I think we'll see that become the dominant force here shortly. Once everyone gets through the pit cycle, those that have the freshest tires are probably going to win out here.
And the drivers are dealing with lap traffic now as well. That's Nicholas Hunter in 29th position, making way for Jeff Evans and Ryan Goodall, continuing their battle, but Evans with a much better exit. Goodall had to compromise his line there with the truck on the outside, as, oh dear, that's a problem there for Jeff Evans. He'll want to minimize that. Of course, not much you can do when you start blinking out on track.
Yeah, that's a really unnerving part of racing on the sim here, is when you have somebody in front of you blinking like that, you never quite know exactly when they're going to reappear, and it makes it really difficult to pass a driver if you don't know where the driver's at.
Seems that the issues have abated for Jeff Evans, but it's created another issue here as Goodall finally goes for the move into turns 1 and 2. And will make his way up into third place. A very good drive from Goodall so far. Remember, he started in 7th, so it's been a profitable night for him so far. The top two remain as they are, but looking down the field, and there is only one driver who was in the same position they started in. That's CM Pennington in 23rd. Actually, Randy Caldwell in 24th and Ryan Traver in 26th. They are in the same positions they qualified. That's quite the exit there. As the battling continues up ahead, Charles Sumner right in the midst of this here. They pass Nicholas Hunter, who again is lap traffic at this stage. Joshua Tellez, who went very well early on the fresh tyres. Now he's definitely in tyre conservation mode. But having to make his way past the lap traffic, certainly going to mess up his rhythm a little bit. Charles Sumner right on the attack.
You got to think there is just a ton of drivers right now that are hoping and praying for a caution, and at the same time hoping they're not the cause of the caution. Here as Sumner goes to the inside of Tellez, and it looks like he's going to have the position as they come off of turn number 2.
Up to 7th for Charles Sumner. Good stuff there. And he started in 12th, so it's been quite a good run for him so far. It seems to me that the battling is all for third on back, because our top 2, there's seconds between our top 2 and the rest of the field. Bradley Holley in the 184. He's just circulating at the moment, managing his tyres, keeping up the pace. He'll be thinking about bringing it into the pits very soon. The drivers will probably be banking on another caution happening at some point, and traditionally, I suppose, there's a very high chance of a caution in the final half of a race as fatigue sets in and drivers get distracted.
And in addition to that, the drivers really ramp up the intensity once they get closer to victory or defeat, as it may be later in the later stages of the race. So we could see this last half of the race, Reese, being very heavily contested. I mean, even as it is right now, Bradley Holley is your leader and has a decent margin over Thomas Sink, but really just one little mistake on pit road or even out on the track, and we could really see this swing back towards Thomas Sink.
Well, there goes Nicholas Hunter into the lane, unfortunately overshooting his pit box. That's going to cost him even more time. But Hunter on that set of tyres would be completely shot by now, and he's definitely getting that green flag pit stop done. Wondering if there is a chance that we'll see green flag pit stops for the majority of the field as the battling continues for third place. Jeff Evans has not allowed Ryan Goodall to get away from him, and Clayton Montgomery is making himself known in this battle as well in 5th place, and almost rounded him up as they made their way around the lapped car of Ryan Traver.
Yeah, lap traffic here, as you mentioned, is a huge disruption. This is a track where you can really get into a rhythm with the 2 symmetrical corners, and you just kind of feel it out. But all of a sudden, you're running down on somebody that's significantly slower than you, and it can really force a mistake when you're just kind of in your own head, in your own space there racing, and all of a sudden there's somebody right in front of you.
We briefly caught a flash of Danik Momi in the pit lane, going for his second stop of the night, a green flag one for him. And the amount of trucks here that don't have any damage seems quite rare. Checking back in with Abner Acosta, he's continued his fight up through the field, up to 13th place now, and starting to chase down Adam Shane, who is a reasonable amount of time ahead. Colton Lane brings it into the lane for a green flag pit stop, currently in 25th place, last car on the lead lap, and he will undoubtedly go a lap down as a result of that. Would a driver be crazy to attempt a no pit stop run here? As, oh, take it easy, boys. Oh, whoa, 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 that might be the caution that they were hoping for. No, on the apron there for the number 45, Clayton Montgomery. What a shame for him. He was fighting for third, and just a tiny bit of contact putting paid to that. Montgomery falling down now to 14th place.
And I'm shocked that it wasn't ruled a caution. I really thought he was going to come back up onto the racing surface. And at this point, it may have even been to his benefit for that to happen. Unfortunately, he's just got to continue on and really feel out how wounded his truck may be while under green flag conditions, which is definitely far from optimal.
We'll catch a replay of that then, side by side, running with Jeff Evans on the exit, and they just come together on the exit. seems that Evans, yeah, he was up in the wall. There wasn't much he could do there, but Montgomery maybe thought that there was a little bit more of an opportunity to go high than there was. And unfortunately, side by side, that's what happens at any oval, let alone Dover.
Yeah, Dover, which is particularly narrow, as you see Doug Evans, one of a slew of trucks coming to pit road this time around. Oh, it looks like Bradley Holley is one of them as well. That new livery threw me off.
Yes, actually, the top four all going in: Holley, Sink, Goodall, and Evans. And also bringing it in, the number 11 of Richard Thomas. Be interesting to see where these drivers filter out, as it looks like green flag pit stops are the way of the day here at Dover. Holley out of the lane, and it looks to me as though he's definitely kept Thomas Sink behind him, but oh dear, that's not going to help him there. A little bit of an appointment with a lapped truck, Bob Clement. So as more drivers make their way into the lane, we got Charles Sumner and Brendan Chatley in the lane, Adam Shane, Austin Hunter, Stacey Hunter, all in there, as well as Kaylee Simons. The likes of Joshua Tellez, Paul Williams, Mark Kalin, our current top three, they stay out. Clayton Montgomery, well, he had that crash, but he stayed out, and it seems that the truck hasn't suffered all that much damage for Clayton in the number 45. Continuing to make his way around in 5th place at the moment. Abner Acosta, having taken that second pit stop early on, now he goes for his 3rd, bringing it into the lane. This could be crucial here.
Yeah, this could be a real comeback story if Abner's able to nail this pit stop and get back into the mix with the front runners. This could be a huge comeback story for your defending series champion.
Yes, of course, Abner Acosta taking the 2021 Season 4 title, and Bradley Holley, the year-long championship winner, taking the playoffs. And there goes Holley by Abner Acosta. Seems that Abner, he's not lost out, but he hasn't gained that much either. Falling down to 16th place now, as he's still in the lane, and he's going to re-emerge in about 20th place. There's still plenty of time here for Acosta to make his way up further, as Ryan Goodall sets the fastest lap, and Goodall is somewhat down in the field. God, there's so many drivers swapping around here on the timing. I'm having trouble keeping track of what's going on here. Bradley Holley and Thomas Sink, they're moving up now into 5th and 6th as Clayton Montgomery, AJ Roderick, and Daniel Ailey all jump into the pit lane. And that looks like plenty of chaos out there. It looked like Adam Zemke, these guys were making their way past.
Yeah, this is going to be a really difficult portion of the race. As the drivers on different strategies all get themselves sorted out. You have drivers laps down, lead lap drivers, and drivers that will be on the lead lap once everything cycles out. And there's just so much going on right now and so much to keep straight. I do not envy any of the drivers trying to get through this portion of the event.
Plenty of side-by-side running here, almost going 3 wide, and oh dear, was that Zemke making his way into the wall? Yes, he loses lots of momentum down the straight and allows through the number 62 of Mark Kalin, who's currently in 2nd place. Paul Williams in the number 7, just up ahead, is your race leader at the moment, but he's slowing down to go into the lane and almost gets collected by the drivers behind, and he's missed pit entry. Paul Williams has missed pit entry. Oh, that is heartbreaking.
This is not an easy pit road to transition onto by any stretch of the imagination. We've seen world-class drivers in the real world like Matt Kenseth struggle with it and get put out of the race doing it, so no shame there for Paul Williams, but unfortunately it is definitely going to hurt his results.
Well, Mark Kalin, he nails pit entry, but oh dear, not quite. Had to get it slowed down a little bit more for pit road there. Almost collected the barrier coming into the pit lane. We'll see where he filters out. We can expect Randy Caldwell to make his way into the lead. He's now the only car yet to make a pit stop, as Paul Williams finally gets it into the lane as well. Bradley Holley and Thomas Sink. There's only 0.6 of a second between them. Looks like the battle for the lead is back on, especially seeing as Holley is having to deal with lap traffic here.
Yeah, you can see the steely look of determination on Bradley Holley's face as he negotiates around that lap traffic.
And we just saw Mark Kalin making his way out of pit lane there, behind him onto the apron. Holley checking his timing, I would presume, just to see what the gap is like. But now there's barely anything between Bradley Holley and Thomas Sink. Holley now has to get back into the rhythm. His opening stint was nothing short of fantastic. He was able to keep that lead by more than a second and hold it, but you can see Thomas Sink here trying to round him up. Oh dear. Well, that's down onto the apron there, as that looks to be Randy Caldwell, the last car yet to make a stop, and unfortunately not quite executing it.
Well, he did make a stop. Unfortunately, it was to throw it in reverse when he ran into the barrels there.
Well, he'll bring it into the box and get those tyres changed. He'll have the benefit of lovely fresh tyres towards the end, but with the time lost from that mistake, unclear whether that will actually benefit him. But it is on for the lead. Meanwhile, looking a little bit further back, that's Jose Medina. Oh, no, that is the number 44 there. Oh, having to slow it down. Oh, I think he was going for the lane, but ended up missing the entry once again. CM Pennington, who has already had a rough night.
Yeah, it looked like he was, looked like he may have been getting ready to spin out there. Maybe he was just trying to lock it down just so he could keep it pointed straight, but I think you're right. He was going for pit road and unfortunately missed his turn.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's not going to be good.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Trying his best to get back down to the apron and unfortunately compromising another driver because of that. Well, Pennington shall bring it into the lane finally for a second stop, but he has bled lots of time there. Back up to the front, Bradley Holley and Thomas Sink. The gap between them is staying the same, but Jeff Evans and Charles Sumner fighting for fourth place. And it looks like Sumner's managed to get that done. It's going to be a good drive here for Sumner if he can hold on to it. Richard Thomas, meanwhile, has moved up into third, and he's just up ahead of these two. Going to encounter a bit of lap traffic as well. Stacey Hunter and Nicholas Hunter. What is Thomas going to do here down to the inside? He is given plenty of room by Nicholas Hunter, but Stacey, meanwhile, continues on. And you can see the difference in pace there. Much better exit for Richard Thomas, and this is going to be an excellent result for Richard. Started in 9th, now up into 3rd. Fantastic run.
Yeah, it really kind of snuck up into that position. Haven't really talked about him much all day up to this point, and now he's up there in the mix. A bit of a distant third to your top two runners, but nonetheless, third place finish, nothing to sneeze at.
Well then, that's the way it's going to go. Bit of traffic between himself and Sumner, which will certainly help him out. And Stacey Hunter goes wide to let Sumner go, so he can continue his vault up here into the podium positions, as that's a car stopped on the track. Randy Caldwell going for a spin, and that has brought out the caution once again. It looks to me like Caldwell, that looked like contact with Rob Neller on the exit of turn 2. And oh man, looking at that incident, I'm sure we'll go to a replay momentarily. Caldwell, he almost held on to it, but as you'll see, Chris, unfortunately the truck got away from him again. And he only had half the car up on the circuit too.
did a really good job of not hitting anything until right there at the end when he did hit something. But for a minute there, looked like he may have had a chance to save it. You can watch here from another angle, coming off the corner, and just a bit of a touch there, and goes for a slide. Almost has it saved, and then around it goes into the inside wall.
That's a shame there for Randy Caldwell, and it seemed in the case of Rob Nella, it was a slight bit of oversteer. Now this is interesting. Our top two making their way back into the pit lane, Bradley Holley and Thomas Sink. And pit lane, a hive of activity at the moment. We've got Richard Thomas in, we've got Jeff Evans in, we've got Brandon Chatley as well. In fact, the majority of our top 10 making their way into the lane for a fresh set of tyres, hopefully to the end of the race. Holley and Sink, they re-enter the circuit, but it is going to be as even Stevens as possible between our top two now.
Yeah, looks like Bradley Holley, Thomas Sink, two best pit stops there. Get out 1 and 2 still.
Interesting to see as that's Zemke going for the lane once again. Wondering if there's going to be a few drivers who attempt bit of a long tyre run towards the end. It seems that most of them will be going for that fresh set, but Abner Acosta could benefit here by staying out, get himself that track position and try to defend towards the end.
Yeah, it may be a big ask to try to get that many laps out of a set of tires with people on fresher right behind you, but stranger things have happened in the world of motorsports.
We've certainly seen some excellent comeback drives from Abner Acosta in the past. This might be another one. He's now up into 8th place, just behind Adam Shane and Colton Lane. And this is, we're focused on Bradley Holley now, who is the race leader, but this is all lap traffic up ahead of him. The likes of Trevor, Goodall, Ailey, Williams, Hunter, Pennington, Roderick, Medina, Gaia, and then the pace car in that ascending order. See how many of them decide to go for the pits this time around. It looks like none of them really are, but I would presume that these drivers will be allowed to pass the pace car before we go back green, unless I'm completely wrong on that.
Well, maybe we're looking at one of those old-fashioned blend rule restarts, and looks like at this point the lap cars are taking their wave around here. They'll tag back onto the back of the field.
And a note from our director, CM Pennington, in the number 44 down in 28th position. He is on the, well, before he pitted, that was a 70-lap stint. So that was quite the run there for CM Pennington. And I mean, that makes sense for him, you know, having to stay out as long as possible, try and get as much track position as he can, and then whack on that fresh set of rubber to the end. But the lap cars have filtered through, and it will be at least one more lap here before we go green. It's Bradley Holley versus Thomas Sink, the same situation at the start.
You know, before we had this caution, Thomas Sink was only a 10th or 2 behind Holley. So Sink is definitely turning it up here as we get towards the end of the race, and I'm really excited to see what he can do here on equal footing in these closing laps.
Could very well be a race for the ages if Thomas Sink is able to stay with Bradley Holley on this final, what we hope will be the final restart, with 25 laps to go. At this stage, it doesn't look like we're going to be going time certain. It's been a very rapid race here at Dover, despite the amount of cautions that we've had. Got to keep an eye on the battle for third as well. Charles Sumner and Jeff Evans, they've been keeping each other very close company for the majority of this middle stint of the race. See what Brendan Chatley can do as well to try and stake his claim for third. He's going to have Colton Lane on his outside. The lights are off on the pace car, so we should be getting a restart here. The start of lap 87 of 110 as Bradley Holley lines it up here with Thomas Sink, and he goes early. Thomas Sink is going to stay with him, and again, the top two get a great start versus the rest of the field. It is even for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, but Jeff Evans is going to lead the way for them coming into turns 1 and 2. Sumner, though, on the inside. We'll see what he can do. Slightly compromised exit, and slipping down to the inside, Jeff Evans. It seems the third on back battle is caught right back up with the leaders. Bradley Holley and Thomas Sink still your top two.
And it is a pretty good lineup there, nose to tail, with a bunch of front runners here with coming to 22 laps to go. Got a pass for position there. Looks like Mark Kalin may be losing out to the 312 of Austin Hunter.
Yeah, Kalin, he fires it into the turn and manages to stay ahead of Austin Hunter, who's made his way up into 10th place. Now down to 11th as Aaron Webb gets him. And Aaron back into his starting position now. So that will be good for him. But goodness me, this top battle, pretty crazy as Austin Hunter. We ride on board in the sim and in the real world right down to the inside. Not going for the late apex like many of the drivers around him.
Yeah, it is a bit of a different approach than what we've seen with most of the other trucks. But it may really pay out with tire wear there, with maybe a little less severe of a turn-in.
It's definitely something the drivers will be thinking about, as this is quite the freight train of cars here. Everyone down to 11th place, all involved in the same battle, and Abner Acosta there in 7th. He's certainly made a great comeback and pitted under the caution, managed to keep that track position. Now he's going to try and round up Brendan Chatley, but he's got quite a bit of pressure from behind from Adam Shane and Mark Kalin. Not advancing as much as he might have expected. Of course, now he is around drivers more of his caliber. Oh dear. Of course, Abner Acosta, usually see him blink once an event or so, and it's always stressful when that happens.
And it really seems like, as close as they are, those top runners are almost taking it a little bit easier, not wanting to push the issue quite yet. But with only less than 17 laps to go race, I expect that's going to change here very soon.
Yeah, we're getting to crunch time, aren't we, Chris? Holley has got a good gap over Thomas Sink. It's just under 3/10 at the moment, but Sink might be conserving his tyres for a final run up to the finish. We'll have to wait and see what his plans are. But yeah, you're right. Everyone here in the top 11 taking it easy. Abner Acosta, though, having a little bit of a look at Brendan Chatley. But Chatley will stay ahead. A little bit more of an aggressive entry, keeping him ahead of the reigning season champion. Almost bumper to bumper as well for third on back as the yellow flag is back out. Something has gone on there. That is James Dewar, who's found the wall on the outside of that seems to be turns 1 and 2. And Dewar was one of the drivers who was involved in, I think, the opening wreck early on. Looks to me like it was contact with Richard Thomas. Oh dear. Yeah, when you make contact in a straight line like that, side by side, there's only one way that can go.
Yeah, definitely a tough hit there. But this is going to set us up for a pretty exciting finish here, I think.
Yeah, certainly think so. This is the outside view. Oh man, James Dewar, he has had a very tough night, and it's only gotten worse for him there. But good on him to hold the brakes, keep it stopped, and re-enter safely. And here we go. This is interesting. Final pit stop. Bradley Holley goes in. Thomas Sink stays out. He's joined in the pits by Colton Lane, by Abner Acosta, Aaron Webb, Austin Hunter, Joshua Tellez. Many drivers coming in here for a late final pit stop. But Thomas Sink staying out. He might be going for track position here.
Yeah, this is going to come down a lot to how many other trucks stay out with him. But this could be the break Thomas Sink needed to get away from Bradley Holley and maybe run away to a victory.
Well, Holley completes his stop, re-enters the circuit, and looks like he is going to rejoin in 7th place with, I would assume, 11, maybe 10 laps to go when the caution ends. It's not going to be much time for him to make up positions. See if Thomas Sink decides to go for the lane here. I'm keeping an eye on him, waiting to see if he commits to pit lane. He's definitely giving the hurry up to the pace car. It looks like he is staying out. So this could be what makes or breaks Thomas Sink's night. Also, the likes of Jeff Evans and Charles Sumner, they've moved up into 2nd and 3rd now, with Brendan Chatley up into 4th.
Yeah, this is really shaking things up, changing our top 6 there. But Bradley Holley only going to be restarting 7th. With we're going to be looking at what, roughly 10 laps to go once we get this one back underway. It's not unreasonable for him to make his way back to the front.
Yeah, the difference between fresh and slightly worn tires is quite substantial in these trucks. But Bradley Holley is going to have to execute it properly, nice and cleanly, if he wants to get that lead back. He is not going to have much time at all.
So with what will hopefully be our last restart, I gotta say, Reese, I'm pretty excited to see how this one will end up coming out.
As am I. Thomas Sink, I think, would have the advantage over the likes of Evans, Sumner, Chatley, Shane, Kalen, etc. So he should be able to get away from them on the restart, but all of those guys are going to have to worry about Holley, Lane, Acosta, everyone who's pitted just behind them. In fact, everyone from 7th Bradley Holley all the way down to 19th Stacey Hunter going in for that extra stop. We've also seen Paul Williams, Ryan Traver, CM Pennington, Adam Zemke and Dalton Geyer go in for a stop on the previous lap. Still got Rob Neller and Kaylee Simons out there on tyres as old as the stint from the previous restart. Same as the top 7. But the lights are off on the pace car. We're going to get a restart here very soon. Chris, this is going to be tight.
Yeah, going to be coming to 10 laps left here, Reese. The pay window's open. And with just this little bit left, anything can happen.
So pace car into the pit lane, and it's up to Thomas Sink now to nail this start. Everyone trying to keep as close as they can here on the restart. Sink goes for it and leaves them all behind as we go green, starting lap 101 of 110. 10 laps to go. And it's side by side between Sumner and Chatley. Sumner ends up defending from Chatley very nicely. Bradley Holley has not been able to advance, as it looks like Aaron Webb collecting the wall on the exit of turn 2, but he's managed to keep it going. Holley now coming up to Abner Acosta as his contact ahead between Lane and Shane. Oh, Bradley Holley taking 2 positions there on the inside of the start-finish stretch. But fighting back at him there is Colton Lane on the outside. Oh, so close to making contact to Adam Shane. Holley will be frustrated here. He's boxed in.
Yeah, this is not what Bradley Holley needed on that restart if he wanted to get back to the front.
Whoa!
The field got very strung out, and now Holley is having to race really hard, 3 wide going into the turn there. And Holley somehow makes it through and is able to gain a position.
Goodness me. God, if that were me, that would have been a wreck for sure. Holley still pressuring Colton Lane here to try and get 6th place. Holley's still in 7th. Oh, there we go. It looks like he's managed to get the position there. Time is rapidly running out for Bradley Holley to try and get this win back. Jeff Evans, the next target for him. Actually, Mark Kalin with Jeff Evans just up ahead. Holley to the inside of Kalin. May very well take the position here in turns 3 and 4. Looks like he will. But Thomas Sink is, I think, a bit too far ahead for Holley to make any kind of impression. That was an excellent call from Thomas Sink to stay out. That's what secured him this lead. Bradley Holley's managed to get by all of them now up into 4th place. Now he just needs to pass Chatley and Sumner, and he'll be able to get 2nd as there's a crash behind. This might be another caution. Definitely another caution. That's a huge pile up. Cars spearing all the way across the circuit. That has taken out the midfield.
Well, as we mentioned, the straightaways are very narrow with the wall on either side, and unfortunately, it funneled everything into a giant wreck there.
Looks like it was all started by contact between Kalin and Evans. And, oh man, it was the ever so slightest bit of contact, and it just snowballed into that huge wreck. Evans down into the pit lane, so is Kalin. That's going to be heartbreak for them. They were running incredibly well in the top 5, even the top 3 at a couple of points, and that looks like some pretty severe crabbing for that Chevrolet.
Yeah, that truck is dunzo there. Oh, looks like Kalin and Evans kind of kicked that one off.
They did. And, well, that was all she wrote from there.
Yeah, Doug Evans was basically a ping pong ball there, going from one side of the track to the other, and really unfortunate for a lot of drivers that got caught up in that one.
That's a big shame. Here's the view there. Jeff Evans getting that tap from the inside. He recovered it, but the recovering truck on the inside ended up making that ever so slight contact and sideways across the racetrack. That is not what anyone wants to see, and getting T-boned again and again by truck after truck.
And it's like the more you watch it, the more you see that it happened. It just keeps getting worse the more you look at it.
Well, the way things are going here, we might get a couple laps worth of a shootout when we go green next, unless the caution is extended. Paul Williams here with some magnificent incident avoidance right there. Oh, well, just as I say that, a little bit of a tap there to the number 11 of Richard Thomas, but up until then, that was very well executed.
Yeah, well, it definitely could have gone worse for a few of those guys, so now we get to re-rack them here with Thomas Sink leading over Charles Sumner. Brendan Chatley still hanging on to 3rd, but now we bunch the field back up and have Bradley Holley sitting there in the 4th position. If things go a certain way here, this could see Bradley Holley taking the win.
Yeah, he'll be the 2nd car of the outside row, which is not a bad position to be in. Final restart this is going to be. We got 1 minute left on the timer. So unclear whether or not we will finish under caution. We will have to wait and see, but if Thomas Sink is able to hold on to this lead, it's going to be a fantastic victory, I have to say. That was a very intelligent call there to stay out and put that distance between himself and Bradley Holley. Of course, Holley having to negotiate his way through all of the traffic to make his way back up to the lead. Not what he would have wanted at all. See if the lights go out here on the pace car. But the time is going down. 3, 2, 1, and that is the hour limit reached. And my timing is showing this as the final lap, so it looks like we are going to potentially finish under caution here.
Well, it does look like the lights are off on the pace car, though, Reese.
Unclear on whether or not we're going to get a green flag finish. Of course, there isn't green-white checkers. No opportunity for a green-white checkered anyway, with the way the timing works in this series. But the field form up. The pace car is going to jump into the pit lane. And I would presume that that Thomas Sink will put the hammer down out of the final corner here. We'll see if this is the checkered flag. In goes the pace car. Now, will we complete the entirety of this final lap? Finishing, Thomas Sink crossing the line. And oh no, there's been another crash behind. But seems no caution for that. And I'm not too sure about this. It looks like it has finished, and that is going to confirm Thomas Sink as the winner of round 2 of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series.
Well, definitely got a little funky there at the finish, but other than that, I think we had a pretty exciting race there.
Certainly did. It's going to be Charles Sumner and Brendan Chatley completing the podium. Fantastic drives from all of them, and Thomas Sink wasting no time getting his victory donuts out of the way. A fantastic run there for the number 48 former series champion. We'll step aside very briefly here on the Global Sim Racing channel, and when we get back, we'll have our official results and interviews with our top 3.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Well, a bit of a wonky finish there in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series here at Dover Motor Speedway, but we can go to our unofficial top 10. We're not too sure how these results are going to stack up with the way we finished under caution, but Thomas Sink taking victory from Charles Sumner and Brendan Chatley. taking third place there. Bradley Holley, he led most of the way, but the decision to pit under the second last caution, well, that certainly put paid to his run for victory versus Thomas Sink. Austin Hunter completes the top 5. It's Joshua Tellez who comes home in 6th. A reasonably strong drive there. A definitely strong drive from Abner Acosta, who didn't qualify and ended up coming up to 7th place by the end. Colton Lane gaining 3 positions to finish in 8th. Then it's Clayton Montgomery in 9th and Mark Kalin rounding out the top 10. We do stress that everyone from about 15th back, it's unofficial because of the crash across the line with a technical finish under caution. But we will now go to our driver interviews, and the first driver we'll talk to is obviously the driver that finished first, the number 48 of Thomas Sink. Welcome, Thomas. Congratulations. What a victory there. It seems that the decision to stay out was what paid off for you.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a smart decision when everyone started going in, but I just couldn't bring myself to come down. It didn't make sense to me in my head.
How are the tyres looking for you? Obviously, Dover, with its concrete surface, it can play havoc with the rubber.
It's a struggle. It was not my setup. I knew if you drove in too deep, I'd kill the right front. And if I drove off too hard, I was going to kill the right rear. So I was just trying to save everything I could. And I just followed Brad. I knew that he's good enough to at least help me manage. And I did so, and I can't believe it paid off.
Well, it's going to be another victory for you, certainly great for you, and definitely for back row racing as well. Of course, the back row team for Waterback, great result already at Iowa and continuing that run here at Dover. Yeah,
I really do feel really good about our team. With the addition of Danny, I think that we're probably end up being one of the stronger teams. I just feel real confident about the season with the guys we have. Everyone at Waterback Racing, we put in so much time. We know our strat going in, whether Brad knows it with Jeff and Colton, all of us with Mark even, we just get everything figured out so that when we go in the race, we have a general idea of what we want to do.
Well, we go from one tough oval to another. Next week, we're racing at Pocono. How do you think you're going to go there?
So, I mean, same thing. I'm just going to, because of my work schedule, I kind of have to sit back and wait for what Jeff and Brad kind of come up with. We'll see what Jeff and Mark say about the race going into and try to adjust accordingly. All I can do is kind of learn from them and try to adapt and overcome from that.
Well, congratulations once again, Thomas. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank for your victory today?
Absolutely. Everyone at Waterback Racing, Brad, for everything he's done for me, Austin and Charles. You know, Charles got a 2nd place. I'm so proud of him. I'd like to see Brendan back in 3rd. You guys for putting on a great broadcast. My girlfriend at home, I love you. The family, Dad, I love you. I know you're in the hospital, and just hang in there, man. I'll see you soon. And then thank you guys.
Wishing all the best to Sink Senior as well here in the Gsrc broadcast booth. That was Thomas Sink, race winner here tonight at Dover Speedway. Next up, we have 2nd place Charles Sumner, a great drive from 12th. He stood by with Chris Phoebe.
Well, Charles, congratulations on a great run. It got a little chaotic there in the closing stages. Tell us about the latter part of your race.
Hey, Chris, I appreciate it. Yeah, honestly, when we had that long green flag run, I was sitting very happy. I liked my long run pace. I was sitting 4th. I had the tire advantage over 3rd, so I was going to be really excited for, a good P3 finish. And then the chaos started, and honestly, thank you to Brad and Colton for pitting and kind of giving me some spots there. I was able to make the move on Jeff, and I'm just ecstatic with the way that tonight went.
Now we head to another kind of oddball track next week with Pocono. Do you think you can capitalize on this momentum and keep it going next week?
I really hope so. Pocono's been kind of a love-hate track. I've had some good finishes, and then I've got wrecked out of some good finishes there. I had a good run at Talladega Sunday. Some bad luck cost me a good finish. Last night, a rare top 5 in one of our road leagues, and then tonight 2nd. So I want to carry that momentum and see where it can take me.
All right, Charles, who would you like to thank to help make this race possible for you?
as always, I want to shout out to you guys at the Gsrc for putting on amazing broadcasts week in, week out. Everybody at the PRL who makes this possible, and all the drivers who put on a great show. Also, Advanced Sim Racing, RaceLabs, ButtKicker, NinjaTrader, who helped the PRL make all this possible. And then a special shout out to Tropicana for sprucing up the car.
All right, that's our runner-up finisher tonight, Charles Sumner, coming home in second place. Back to you, Reese.
Back to me indeed for the interview with our third place finisher, the number 59 of Brendan Chatley. Fantastic drive from you, Brendan. It certainly got chaotic for you. You had to work for that podium.
Definitely. Kind of threw myself for a tougher drive when I decided to pit after 15 laps, but that's kind of what I'm known for, my differential strategies. So glad that I was able to get back up there and finish third.
And you were one of the drivers that stayed out under the second last caution, which pretty much consolidated that podium for you.
Yeah, I actually didn't think that was going to turn out too well for me. I was actually out of tire sets with that early pit stop I made, so I had no choice, but I definitely was expecting only one row behind me to not have pit either, that those guys would just, the fresh tire guys would catch us pretty quick.
Well, at the end of it, you managed to keep the likes of Bradley Holley behind you, and I suppose that final caution that came out was a bit of a saving grace.
Yes and no. It would have been fun to battle Brad. We battled for like in this league for about 3 years now, so or maybe even 4. But yeah, it's would have been fun to battle him, see if I could keep him behind for the last couple laps. But I know it would be tough with the caliber of driver he is.
Great result for you here at Dover. How about Pocono? How do you usually go there?
It's my home track. I enjoy it. Wasn't too confident with this track, but we saw how that turned out. So we'll see how Pocono turns out for me then.
We certainly will. Thanks for joining us, Brendan. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
I want to thank you guys for putting this on, and PRL, and especially Charles for the excellent job he does running the Oval Leagues.
That's Brendan Chatley there, third place. Excellent result for the number 59 in the PRL. Well then, Chris, that was quite the chaotic race here at Dover, and I got to say, for my first time ever commentating a race at Dover, I bought the track about 20 minutes before this broadcast. I think that was a pretty good way to get my eye in.
Yeah, you definitely saw everything that Dover has to offer. Great racing, a bit of chaos, some crashes. Really got the whole package there, so I guess welcome to Dover.
And it was a very warm welcome indeed. Well, we want to thank you all for watching here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We have to give thanks to our series sponsors like Advanced Sim Racing. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. RaceLab as well, that helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. You can also feel a lot more of it with ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. And finally, of course, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Our thanks must also go to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast, listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp page for more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Chris, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media on the bottom of your screen. Also, please check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel here as well, so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series will be Pocono, January 12th at 8:50 p.m. EST. Our next broadcast is going to be the Precision Racing League Formula 3 and Porsche Cup. That is tomorrow at 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.